On three. Big breath in. 1, 2.
Hi there, Michelle. How are you doing? Nice to speak to you.
Yeah, same here. Nice to meet you, Howard.
So congratulations on the movie. It's a fantastic little movie. I spoke to Sherren the other day, and I said to her that it's more my wife that's into these romantic movies, and I don't usually kind of go for those. It's not my go-to movie, and I loved it. I really enjoyed it.
That's great.
So I'd say congratulations on everyone there. It's really, really cool. Um, I mean, the first thing I wanted to congratulate you on is congratulations. You haven't won it, but you deserve the award for Auntie of the Year
Aw.
for this movie. What was it about this specific role as kind of like this auntie that your niece could turn to that really kind of enticed you to take on this role?
Well, I'm Taiwanese, and anyone from Taiwan, anybody who's Chinese or Asian has that crazy Asian aunt, and they usually tell you what to do. They tell you you're fat. They tell you if you're ugly. They tell you everything you don't want to hear because they love you and they want to change you. And for me, Aunt Rachel was really the opposite. It was an opportunity to step into a very traditional narrative, which is the romance narrative, and to play this character that we've seen in different variations. But I haven't seen this color where it's an Asian female lead um, who is, trying to find herself. And, you've got this aunt who is really not judgmental in any way and is really encouraging her to find herself. And she's a very healthy character. There's nothing wrong with Aunt Rachel. And I come from a lot of roles where there's a lot of brokenness, and I play always like the crisis centered character. And this was a healthy character who I thought, in my world, if I had this idealized aunt who could give me the best advice, who would she be? And that was how I looked at playing Rachel.
Uh-huh. I mean, obviously, so because you were giving all this advice, and also because Sherren, she kind of brought a lot of herself into the film.
Yeah.
Was she very open? Did she speak to you openly about kind of the kind of things that you would, the kind of advice that you maybe give to a niece of yours if you had to kind of, if they were in similar kind of situation? Did you kind of have much of a talk about that?
Not so much. I mean, I think we both, I initially thought that Rachel was going to be a little bit zanier, a little bit quirkier, but I
Right.
think Sharon's take was to just keep her really sincere and not give her the quirks that I think I initially thought, oh, isn't she the quirky, crazy aunt? But I think we've also seen a version of that too. And I think she wanted a maternal figure that we could see was just her true and steady champion. And that for me was really quite liberating because I didn't have to put a spin on it. I could really just be a version of myself. And I've worked really hard, Howard, to get to the place where I can give myself healthy, non-critical advice. It's
Yeah.
something that we all need in our inner lives and our inner head, that non-critical voice. And it was nice. It was a good way for me to ritualize that experience just for myself.
Uh-huh. I mean, you mentioned there that you thought initially that your part as the ant was going to be kind of a zany ant,
Yeah.
and I was having a look. I was stalking you a little bit on Instagram, and you actually, when you were talking about the role, you said it was great because you got to cut your teeth in comedy, and even though this was more of a kind of a drama romance, there was some elements there that kind of reminded you of your heyday, and you love kind of getting back into that again, no?
Yeah, because I haven't done comedy in a long time, not like a straight true comedy, and I started out in the sitcom world, and I was doing sitcom after sitcom. So I miss just landing a joke and doing a turn, and now for me, a good comedy is just, it's a real fluid ability to perform, and with the kind of confidence of knowing how to make a laugh happen. So when I could, I did try and infuse Rachel with that kind of quirk, but tonally I still wanted to keep her grounded.
Yeah. But at the same time, it really felt like you were really having fun with the rest of the cast. It almost felt like I was watching a slice of life of this kind of this place, and it looks like you built a family while you were over there in that town, no?
Yeah, that town is very, it's I think we had it wasn't that shoot, but there were bears, there would be bears around set. And
Really?
it was the salmon they were running upstream and they were spawning and they were dying, like you're really surrounded in nature. And there was
Hmm.
something magical about being close to nature, making a film in this really picturesque town. If you see, you've seen the movie, but some of the
It's a
shots
beautiful
are
place.
so.
As I said to Sharon, I'd love to go there. It was like it just pulled me in. I just wanted to go and see that place. It's beautiful. Yeah.
Yeah, the mountains are stunning. They really, it's that place where you kind of talk to nature. I was like walking in forests every day, and I think when you see the film, there's something magical that you can feel is happening because of that area. So,
Hmm.
um, yeah, I hope that makes sense.
No, no, complete sense. Yeah. And something else that I know that you loved about this film is I mean, you mentioned on Instagram also that you love that Andrea Bang has got a protagonistic role. So it must have been great to work with her. How did you kind of prepare? I mean, imagine you created some kind of a background story between the two of you so that so it really did feel believable that you were her aunt who kind of looked out for her and gave her advice and knew what everything that had gone on before we see the film, before what happens in the film.
Yeah, I mean, we did some of that basic work where we talk about like, when was the last time, we saw when I saw her mother. There's in the backstory of the film, you get a little taste of it. This character of Rachel isn't so close to the mother because maybe the mother, her sister, is has different standards for what she wants her daughter to do in her life. And Rachel has gone off and become an artist and has led her life very differently. And I think that's kind of why Waverly goes to seek her Aunt Rachel out, because she knows intuitively there's a kind of freedom there that she's longing for. So we talk about that. And I think it's always such a pleasure to work with someone in my own community, because it for a good part of my career, I never had that. When I did a film called Saving Face back in 2005, and that was the first time I got to work with an Asian director,
Right.
co-stars. And, we've come a long way since then, but still that feeling of kinship and of family when I step onto a set and I have people from my own community there who are creating the story with me. We have a we have an unspoken bond and kinship of what it's like to work in this industry as people of color. So I think we have that connection, and we bring that with us when we play family, especially because we feel like family. We're like
Yeah.
sisters. We're in the trenches together. So
Yeah.
yeah,
That was something that I thought was beautiful in the film as well. The fact that we get to see Asian people, other colored people, gay people, all in like this family that were really, really joined together. That must have been something that you really kind of. I know that for Sharon, it was very important that there was all these different kinds of people that were all living there together in this summer town.
yeah, because Sharon's Canadian, and when I visit Canada, I'm always impressed with just how diverse it is. And I think she brings that lens and she brings that fluidity with her. And Sharon and I have talked about just sexuality and orientation and all of these, and the way she looks at these things. And she's of the generation where that fluidness is just part of their everyday identities. And I think that's what she brings to this film is a new lens and it's really refreshing.
Mhm. And something that's very important in the film, obviously, is the idea that you've got to choose what you feel is right to do. And the decision that she has to make, without giving too much away, is that she's was going to go to medical school. And the idea of giving this up because of a summer romance is kind of, it's a tricky subject to touch on because it can give so many people going to watch it. It can give these ideas that, hey, maybe for love, going to give up medical school or whatever. So that must have been quite a tricky balance as well. Did you speak to the director, to Sherren, about that as well? It's quite a tricky balance to give a good message across.
Yeah, that's a great question about that aspect of the film and the story. I that wasn't part of my character, so it wasn't part of my experience, but having watched the film, I liked how Sherren brought a different take of what the protagonist was going to choose. It wasn't just the romance. I mean, I think the romance is what gave her the emotional, visceral experience to choose for herself. But
Mhm.
the decisions that she's making really is about her and her family ultimately, right? Because she loves the guy. It's actually he's the one who can't figure himself out.
Yeah.
You know, he's the one who's limited actually more than she is. And that's kind of neat to see that twist. So when she doesn't just abandon her life for the guy, I think we like seeing him show up for her in her new surroundings, you know, and I think that's kind of a different empowering take on that romance narrative.
Mhm. And before I go, there's something I want to ask because I know that obviously you've got this coming out, but there's also something that's a very important project for you that's coming out very soon as well. I understand that's in post production called Tiger Mom, which is a film that you're in, and you also co-wrote. Now, can you tell us a little bit about that? And I imagine it's some kind of a passion project because you're very, very involved on both sides of the camera in this one, no?
Yeah, that's a passion project by the director, Sean Chow. He has been championing his script, Tiger Mom, for, I mean, close to 20 years. I did a short film with him back in the early 2000s, and he had shown me the script about tiger parenting, and it was really dark. I told him that, you know, I don't know if everybody is ready for a film about it, how tiger parents can be abusive to their kids, but he's really reworked that script, and you know, he brought me a version of that script that I helped co-write, and there's another writer on there as well. So the three of us really did work very closely to come up with a take on tiger parenting and tiger moms. So you know, we were lucky to get Ken Jeong to star alongside myself and Jing Chu, who's really great actress from China. Zhang Jingchu is her name, and yeah, it's I'm hoping it'll be as fun of a ride as it was to make it. So it's definitely like a comedic take on parenting.
A
Tiger.
comedic take now. Yeah, I mean, curiously, it's also kind of feels like it could have been the same universe as Float, in other words, kind of the parents trying to find the kids' feet
It's
for
actually
them now.
different, Howard. I think
No, but just the thematic. I mean, this when I was reading the synopsis, it felt a little way. Kind of this,
Yeah.
the mother was very strict with her daughter.
Yeah. I mean, I think tiger parenting it's a big theme, you know, just like family is a
Yeah.
big theme. It's for, you know, Asian cultures that it's a big part of what some of our challenges are when it comes to like coming into our own as individuals. It's a very different way of looking also at how you raise your children, you know. So there's many different ways to skin that cat.
Definitely, yeah. Well, listen, thank you so much for your time, Michelle. It's really, really nice to speak to you. I wish you the best of luck with the film when it comes out on Friday, and I hope to speak to you again sometime soon.
Thanks, Howard. Nice to talk to you.
All right, thanks very much. Nice to meet you. Take care then.
It's time you ask yourself what you want to do.
I don't want the summer to end. You have to make yourself known in this life. Not for anyone else, but for you.